Good morning, everyone. Happy Saturday. We are back on our Saturday walk and talk after 1 week off for many of us that were at a conference, but we're going to go ahead and get going. I know I have a bit of a topic on the subject of epigenetics, some fascinating stuff that I'll just kind of introduce. I won't unpack thoroughly, but this program is all about going around the horn. And I hear we have a special guest, proof positive that you do not have to walk fast to get your 10,000 steps in a day. Bruce and Eileen in Florida. Who do we have as our special guest today? Oh, are you still there, Bruce and Eileen?
Yeah, it's
Sorry.
Tomahawk the turtle.
Poor guy.
We've already got him named. Tomahawk the turtle. Well, I can see he's made his way over to, the curb there,
Yeah.
and this guy just continues to just be part of the HealthPointe program. I mean, don't we talk about when you're on the HealthPointe program about keeping it between the rails, right? That you don't have to pretend like this is some tightrope that you have to walk, but at the same time keep it between the rails of the highway. And here we have Tomahawk the turtle that's over on the left-hand rail as I see it. How's he doing?
He needs a little help. He can't make the curb, so we're not with our car, so we don't have it. He needs help. You have anything in your car? He's a snapper. All right, we're going to use the sign over here.
All right.
Anyway, sorry, that's what's going on here.
That's okay. And listen, how about if we do this? We're going to, if you might have your attention over there on Tomahawk, in which case we can switch on over to Carol for a bit and then come back to page 2 of Tomahawk the turtle and Bruce and Eileen. How's that sound? Sound good?
That's great. Thank you. And Bruce is trying to get him safely with the sign.
All right. Make sure he keeps all his fingers and thumbs, those snappers. They mean no harm, but they will defend themselves. I'm just super proud of Tomahawk the turtle. He's looking really fit and trim, and just I think he's doing great on HealthPointe, getting the steps in. All right. We never know what's going to happen on this program. Carol, we're going to go over to you. Good morning.
Good morning, everybody. It is a beautiful morning, a little tiny bit cooler than we've been getting. We've been getting mid-90s during the day. So this is a very welcome sight, not quite as humid as normal. So it's a great morning for a great walk and with great people like you guys. So this is so funny about Tomahawk because my topic this morning is walking. Could you believe that?
We can't make this stuff up, right? I mean, everything's just...
Oh, no. Only on HealthPointe. But I just wanted to reinforce for the new people that are on, or the new people that will be listening later. And I do know there's a number of new people coming on board, and we so welcome you. And we're so excited about the journey you're taking. And whoever your coach is, know that they've walked before you. They have done the process before you. So whatever they say, try not to question. You don't be questioning. You can question because that's a normal thing to do, but don't be questioning about the program. The program has been proven for many, many, many years. And it's a very simple program. Very, very simple. Sometimes the topics that we uncover might get a little technical here and there, but the program itself is really simple. So follow your coach very closely. And one of the important parts of this program is walking 10,000 to 15,000 steps a day. Now, you might be in a situation, and I know we have folks that are in the situation where they just can't do that physically at this point in whatever health journey they have, they can't. But you can walk as much as you can walk. So start with that and then continue adding on. And I just wanted to tell you that's probably one of the healthiest parts of our business and perhaps one that other than Kathy Munoz, we don't talk about enough. And that is the sheer power walking or just walking in general. You don't have to be a speedo, just getting out and walking. And I'm looking across the street at a lady right now. She's too far away for me to be able to show her, but she's walking along very slowly. But she's out at 8 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday walking. And that is just major, major important. So there was a couple of things that I wanted to kind of help you to understand why walking is so important. And this was an article I got from everybodywalk.org. And this was quite a while ago. But I thought it just brought out some tidbits of why walking is important and the benefits, the health benefits. And the first one is that it boosts endorphins. So that means it eases stress, fatigue, confusion, tension, anger. And isn't all of that what we are fighting in the world today? And so when you walk, you're releasing these endorphins that just are stress releasers. They make you feel so good and so much more in control. And if you can, because of the nice weather now, if you can walk outdoors, it's even double, triple wonderful because you're out in the beautiful nature. Then the second one is it limits sickness. And so because it builds your immunity system, healthy walking is a healthy habit and it boosts your immunity. It works your arms and shoulder muscles. Now I'm holding papers and I'm holding a phone right now. So obviously my arms aren't moving, but when I'm power walking, my arms are moving. My arms and my shoulders both are moving. It builds bone mass, and I'm gonna touch on a quick article real quick on how this builds the bone mass, but it's a weight-bearing exercise. So it's very, very important to the strengthening of your bones, which we all, no matter whether we're 20, 40, 60, or 80, or 100, we all want to keep our bones strong because our bones are the stability in our physique. It strengthens legs because you're using your leg muscles, your hip flexors, your hamstrings. So it's building the strength of your legs. It burns more fat than jogging. I like that one because I've never been good at jogging. It just seems to not be real good for my back. I can walk as fast as I want, but for some reason, the pounding on the jogging doesn't work well for me. So this actually burns more fat. And if you're on the HealthPointe program, that's probably what you want to do is burn fat. And so walking is real important. It reduces glaucoma risk, and I did not know that either. And so for eye health, walking is very good. It halves your Alzheimer's disease risk over a period of 5 years. So there's lots of hidden benefits that just the habit of doing it will pay off later. It improves heart health by increasing heart rate and circulation. It improves blood pressure by 5 points. It limits colon cancer by 31% for women because it engages in ab muscles. And I call it massages for the intestines. What it does is it moves all of that, of the intestines and everything, and it's kind of like an exercise for them. So if you have need help in that area, that walking certainly can be a benefit. And then it limits colon cancer by 31% for women, and it improves balance by preventing falls. And so that was just a little thing that I found in my HealthPointe material and thought I'd share that. And to wrap up, what I wanted to do is I have a favorite, Dr. Vivian, and she is, her specialty is osteoporosis and bone health. And she has some great articles. And this one says, these new studies will help you get up and walking in no time. So it says 2 studies identified remarkable benefits for the brain and body that can get you just from walking. It says walking is weight bearing and it stimulates bone growth, and it's got 2 benefits. So you'll want to keep your walking shoes by because you're going to want to take a walk as soon as you hear this. So the first one is that walking to grow your brain. We hear a lot about bones, but we don't hear as much about brains. But interestingly enough, our brains don't stop growing after childhood. I mean, it's kind of like you get out of school and that's the last book you're going to read. I think that's everybody's promise to themselves the minute they graduate from school, but that's just not the case. But your brains keep growing, and certain activities can help in a healthy and robust brain for life. And it says, groundbreaking new research has expanded our understanding of the process by looking at the impact of walking on brain's white matter. It says white matter is the name for the nerve cells that connect other brain cells, the ones you may know as gray matter. We always talk about brain as gray matter. And so it goes on to say about what my white matter, and it's covered with a waxy substance called myelin. And so anyway, it helps in facilitating lightning fast brain function. Don't we want to assimilate things quickly? And so there was a study done, and I won't go into the basics of the study. I'm going to give you kind of the synopsis of it. This study was done with 247 adults between the ages of 60 and 80. And they found that walking used as an aerobic exercise can increase this white matter in the brain and improve memory function. And so this was done actually by a university. Let me see, I changed. The research was done at Colorado State University. And so then it goes on, it says walking to save your life. And then another new study, a different study, found that sufficient daily walking kept participants' arteries healthy and reduced their risk of death by up to 70%. Now, healthy arteries is something we all want, and it becomes, I believe, heart health, according to Dr. Vicki Nelson, is still the #1 killer. And so we want to do everything in our power to keep our arteries strong, strengthened, and we can help do that by walking. And this was the University of Massachusetts. And that what they did was they did a study, and they said all the participants in their study, these were 2,110 middle-aged adults, and this study was done over 11 years, and they found that taking at least 7,000 steps per day reduced participants' mortality risk by 50 to 70%. And this was done with Black people and white people, men and women. I think that's staggering. And we say 10 to 15,000 if you want to lose weight. But even if you worked up to 7,000 steps a day, wow, if you can reduce your mortality risk by 50 to 70%, I mean, that is certainly something that I would definitely want to make part of my daily habit. And then walking to grow your bones. And it says, because it's a weight bearing, when you walk, the pressure that you exert on your bones directly stimulates the formation of new bone mass. And it says, thanks to mechosensitive bone cells. That's as technical as I'm going to get. Your body knows what part of your bone are supporting your physical activity. It responds by making those bones stronger so that you can keep doing that activity safely. And so that's the power of making walking a habit in your life, because your body responds to that. Your brain say, okay, I need to get my bones stronger. My bones are becoming stronger because I'm walking. And it says walking and all forms of mobility are essential to your independence. Isn't that what we all want? The further along in life we get, the more independence we have, the more confident we feel. It turns out that the more you walk, the more able you are to keep walking. Not only does walking help your bones stay strong and capable of supporting you, but it helps keep you alive and well. And so the synopsis, walking is a weight-bearing exercise that stimulates the growth of bones. And so what this means to you, bottom line, is go for a walk, not just today. Make walking an intentional part of your exercise routine and daily habits. The results are remarkably clear. A habit of daily walks can keep your brain and your arteries healthy and strong. And so I just wanted to leave those thoughts with you. So especially for those of you that are new, when you think, wow, what am I doing this for? What am I doing that for? These walk and talks will uncover a little bit at a time, along with your coach, why every single part of the HealthPointe program, as elementary as they seem, are super, super important. Remember, HealthPointe isn't a fly-by-night program. This is a program that was already successful when our company, Network 21, who owns HealthPointe, got a licensing agreement 30 years ago. And they've done millions of people around the world. I'll say tens of thousands, but I think it's more than that, of people, helping them lose weight and get healthier lifestyles. And what I love about it is it's a simple, healthy lifestyle program. It's not a diet. Yes, you'll lose weight. It's not a drug. Yes, hopefully you'll, with getting healthy habits, you'll be able to lower and even eliminate medications. But it is a program that you want to not only follow yourself, but you want your spouse to follow, and your children and your children's children, because in our nation today, we need some healthy habits, and HealthPointe is one of the best. So with that, Eric, I'm going to turn it back over to you, and I'm going to rev up here and do some power walking.
Hey, that was so great. And, as you went into a bit of a segment on there about the effect of walking on bones, it just makes me want to review one of the past episodes on bone health that you did. That was so fantastic. But knowing that this, our daily walking is helping with our bones as well, is just great to hear. So thank you so much, Carol. And Bruce and Eileen, I'm going to go back over to you. And
hey, Eric.
Yes, Kathy.
Can I jump in? I just kind of was thinking after her presentation,
yes, absolutely.
The Lucky
Kathy.
Queen.
Makes sense for me to pop in. Maybe it'll give Bruce and Eileen a little bit more time to get themselves together with Tomahawk.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so how ironic, Carol, that you said everything that you said. So just real quickly, as everybody knows, you guys have affectionately dubbed me the Step Queen. I don't even know the last time I was on. I know it's been at least a month, but I am at 2 years and 67 days today, consecutively, of 10,000 steps a day.
We missed those updates. That is awesome, Kathy. Way to go.
And for those of you who do not know me, several of those 10,000 day steps have been taken inside the ER of Wyandotte Hospital in Wyandotte, Michigan, in the ER at Detroit Henry Ford Main Hospital, and in hospital wings in Wyandotte and in Detroit Henry Ford Main, and in the wing of the hospital. Well, my husband had a 12-hour surgery back on May 21st. So nothing kept me from doing those steps, because it truly is who I am. And now with everything Carol said, wow, I'm really glad I started this 2 years and 67 days ago. But, and again, like Carol had intimated, and you guys had talked about Tomahawk the turtle, he's walking. He's not walking very fast, but he's walking. And that is key. That's what I tell you. I've met several people in the hospital while I've been doing steps, and I actually have to tell each nurse, when there's a new nurse in the room, I'm like, I'm not an anxious person. I just do 10,000 steps a day. So I'm just walking back and forth, but I'm fine. Don't worry about me. Because somebody at one point thought I was extremely anxious and was very concerned about me, and said something to the aide. And she's like, no, she does 10,000 steps a day. She's just getting her steps in right now. She's totally fine. So now I'm cognizant when I see a new nurse, by the way, I'm fine. I'm just getting my steps in. And then, of course it, leads to conversation, whatever. But, the point with that is just that it has become who I am. And I am completely healthy because of continuing to do it and continuing on the HealthPointe maintenance program. Backstory, back in 2018, I was 58 pounds heavier. I was diagnosed pre-diabetic, and my mom's diabetic. My grandfather was diabetic. And I'm like, I ain't going down that road. Luckily, I was exposed to the HealthPointe program. So I reached out to David Dassow and Carol, and they helped me and said, yeah, you can do this. And so we started the program. From June of 2018 to January of 2019, I lost the 58 pounds. I will say, probably, I did not do 10,000 steps every day. And I definitely didn't start at 10,000, because I really never walked before this. I'm an active person, but I never really walk. Well, I'm not even gonna say I'm an active person. I move quick. So, but I did start consciously taking steps. And I really would say during that time, I probably got between 5 and 7,500 most days. Occasionally I would get up to 10, but nothing like an everyday thing. But so interesting that you said like 6 to 7,000 is like the good point for the walking for the bones and everything. So yeah, I was at that level. So I think that helped. But I'm not, funny enough, I'm a Boy Scout leader, but I'm not an outdoorsy person. I know that sounds really funny, but it's kind of the truth. But at least like around here, right now, you can see I'm in my house. I walk in my house over and over and over and over, and you can see that by my little path right now. But I'm not the type to go walk the neighborhood. I'm just not. But I will get my 10,000 steps in a day. And I'm also an administrative assistant, so I sit at a desk all day. But luckily, the printer isn't too far from my desk, so I consciously get up, and I have a coworker on right now who can definitely attest to that, that I do get up and walk to the printer back and forth as much as I can. But I do most of my steps on my lunch hour outside. And most people know me, and they're like, oh, you're getting your steps in, you know? So, but around the house, you can consciously get your steps in. And that's what I want to tell if there's anybody new out there, that if you work all day and you sit at a desk and you come home and you're really tired and you don't know, oh my God, I only have 3,000 steps in. So you have to make dinner. Instead of grabbing all your ingredients from the fridge at one time and taking them to the counter, take them one at a time. It doesn't take that much extra time, and you'll be amazed how many steps you get in that. I'm also a pro at folding clothes while I walk. Fold a towel while you're walking, take it to the cupboard. Come get another towel, fold it while you're walking, take it to a cupboard. Grab one sock, come back, grab the other one, roll them together, take them to the bedroom. It's amazing how many household chores that we busy moms have to do all the time that you can incorporate your steps with. So I just kind of wanted to throw that out there, that it's not, you don't have to be like, oh my God, I have to walk my neighborhood. No, if you like to walk your neighborhood, walk your neighborhood. If you don't like to walk your neighborhood, stay home and walk your hallway like I'm doing. I mean, that's what I did in the wintertime. We're in Michigan. It's actually a beautiful day right now. Okay, I could have went outside, but it's just easier for me to just stay here and do this. Plus, I know I have a really good Wi-Fi connection here in the house. I don't know what would happen if I walked out of the house. So
when you and I love this, because this is the the implementation of what Carol was talking about, and implementation in not perfect settings. And so you've mentioned, Kathy, before, I think it was with your mom in the hospital, there's been other times when you've been in a hospital setting or similar situations where let's face it, there's some people that would say, oh my gosh, due to these circumstances, right, I didn't get my 10,000 steps in, or due to these circumstances, I didn't do this element of the HealthPointe program, due to these circumstances, so forth and so on. You've clearly developed a muscle memory for going into solution mode, not excuse mode. Can you speak to that?
Yeah, literally every time I'm heading to the ER, the first thing I'm doing is looking at my watch going, how many do I got in? It's like, it's going to be a long day. Oh my God, I only have 5,000 in. Okay, I got 5,000 more to go. And, sitting in a little ER cubby, I mean, yeah, you can sit in a very uncomfortable chair and do absolutely nothing but watch your loved one just lay there in bed and complain or sleep, depending on what the scenario is, and just sit there and do absolutely nothing. Or I'm like, okay, I still got 5,000 to go. I don't know how long I'm going to be here. I do not want to wait till I get home tonight and have to walk the halls at home. I'm just going to start doing this. And literally in the beginning, it used to annoy my husband if he would be the one in the hospital bed. And, he'd be like, can you go do it out there? And I'm like, fine, I'll go do it outside of your little cubby. So I would go and do it outside of my cubby. But after a while, if he's sleeping, I'm like, you're sleeping, right? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, okay, cool. I'm just going to walk right here right now. I'm like, because things are kind of crazy out in the hallway and I don't want to be running into people. And he's like, okay, it's fine. So literally just the perimeter around his little bed.
Yeah. And so I'm curious that, and we could unpack the whole solutions versus excuses mindset. I know with the Australians, they literally, that is their branding, that is their shirts that they wear, is their hats that they wear. And it's very apparent why they hone in on that as their message. Their shirts literally say solutions, not excuses. And so I guess I just want to say that, kind of the message behind your message, it's certainly congratulations on continuing as the dubbed step queen, given, extraordinary environment and conditions. But I think just on the broader point that we can all take away from what you're covering here, Kathy, is that, pick your element within the tenets of HealthPointe: supplementation, hydration, walking, listening to audios, mindset, in other words. We can all kind of stumble along through a 6-week cycle, excuse after excuse after excuse, because this is life. Life doesn't just, roll over and say, oh my gosh, you're starting HealthPointe, and therefore we're going to pave the road ahead of you and just make everything easy. And in fact, quite the opposite, I think, could be said. The minute you start a 6-week cycle, that first Monday, your whole world falls apart with all kinds of things hitting your agenda that you never had before. You're like, what's going on? And it's almost like a tester, right? Like, how tough are you? Or how can you figure this out? And we don't try to get perfect, but we do work to progress. And so I think, Kathy, again, just want to applaud you on, you weren't there when you started, but nobody's there when they start, on anything. You're a freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, right? You're undergraduate, postgraduate, you're a white belt, yellow belt, green belt, brown belt, black belt. It's a progression. And I would say you're in that black belt range of this step queen. So, and more, I don't want to say more importantly than step queen, but really the bigger message is solutions. You find solutions. It is who you are. And I'm going to circle back to that on my bit of a segment here on what I hear you say routinely in terms of who you are and the emotions that creates and the biological effect on that. But thank you so much, Kathy. We'd love having you back on here. We'll hope to continue to see you in here. We're going to switch over to Bruce and Eileen because they often have a tight window. And then I saw Larry with his hand up. If Larry is available after that, we'll go to Larry. But first, Bruce and Eileen, we've got high drama of Tomahawk the turtle getting his 10,000 steps in, bumping up against a curb. Please update us on this turtle drama.
So Tommy got his 10,000 steps and then he started the swimming portion of his daily routine.
Yay!
He made it.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Was able to take that sign and help him. He kind of used it as a ramp and then went up onto the curb and up over and got into the pond.
Yeah.
So that's nice. I was going to use my Tomahawk hat, but
Hey, we live in Florida. You got to have a hat. So
That is awesome.
I wanted to thank Kathy for, her being the step queen, because sometimes at night we're like, man, we haven't hit 10,000 for crying out loud. So we'll walk in the house. So, she's really encouraging about that. And we'll have to look back through and see when we hit 10,000 a day. I had knee problems. I know I didn't for a while, but we'll be curious about that to join her in however many years. So that's really encouraging, Kathy.
Welcome to the club.
And,
keep it up.
Carol, thanks for that part. Yeah. Woohoo. I'll let you know when we hit a year. But, and Carol, that part was great. I'm going to have to listen to it on recording because we were dealing with the turtle. I have 2 things I want to share. I'll save best for last. But the first thing is I had my annual wellness exam yesterday. And what was the point I was going to say? So a year ago, before I started HealthPointe, I was trying antidepressants to see if it could make me feel better because I was so depressed. And I couldn't take them. I couldn't, too many side effects. So my doctor asked me, so how are you feeling? And I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm the best ever. I'm not depressed. I'm actually nicer. I'm not all stressed out. I'm not snappy. And I know it has to do, one, with walking, two, nutrition, three, the supplements, I'm sure help balance me inside. So I wanted to share that because it's just wonderful news that I'm a nicer person. I'm not all
Yay.
crabby. Yeah. And then my exciting news, our exciting news is two of our friends have joined HealthPointe. June Brown is in here on Walk and Talk. She started, I think, on Tuesday, and Pam Ward is waiting for her next tribe, her new tribiotics. Probably will start a week from Monday. So they're both here joining us for the first time.
Woohoo!
Wow.
Welcome, June and Pam.
Welcome. Glad to have you with
Yeah.
us.
We just
That
want to
is-
say,
So that's our news. Anything you do?
just
No.
follow
No, we're
June and Pam. Just follow exactly what Bruce and Eileen have modeled over the last 6-8 months. Just follow them because it's the HealthPointe program. They're a walking example, living example of the HealthPointe program. So welcome. We're glad to have you on board.
Super pumped for you guys, and Pam and June, welcome. And yes, and if anybody needs to see how Bruce and Eileen are the examples, scoot on over to our private HealthPointe Facebook group, where we've had a number of posts on there recently. But oh my gosh, Eileen, your before and after photos, your write up, it's just fantastic. Again, for the sake of those that aren't aware, total weight loss between the two of you or individually, how does that break down, and any numbers on that front?
Well, it's over 100 together. 60 something for me, 40 something for Bruce.
45.
Woo, yeah.
I believe you both made breakthroughs and you're like right on the cusp of a new, the 10-pound breakthroughs where you go from the 50s to the 60s to the 70s or whatever, and back down. You've made breakthroughs, both of you, and you're like right at that cusp of holding it, which is
Yes.
the lowest I believe you've been.
Well, I hit the 130s. I was so excited, but my body has decided to retain fluids or whatever. I'm back to the 140s, but that's just, I know it's just part of life. And I will get to the 130s consistently in the next cycle, probably, because I start eating more food on Monday. So I've been doing this long enough to just take the ups and downs in stride. It's just what it is. I'm still good. I claim 130s. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Well, when you say the 130s and then you moved up to the 140s, she's talking ounces, guys. 140.4 ounces. This isn't 145, 150. This is ounces over the 130.
I think it's
And
a
same with
pound.
Bruce.
Anyway,
Well-
thanks, guys.
Well, again, continued success, and super powerful to be able to take what has been literally a life changer in your guys' realm, and pay it forward, as we say, to some new folks that are initiating their journey. And it's interesting you mentioned about the antidepressants and how great you feel, and certainly it's a multitude of factors, but you mentioned walking, you mentioned the supplementation, and one thing that is a really interesting area of research, and actually just pretty common knowledge now, is the role of our microbiome and our gut health. And for those that are on the HealthPointe program, a lot of times you'll be taking, certainly you're taking your omegas, which can have an effect, but also probiotics, and that, along with the macronutrient, the breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and so forth, can improve your microbiome, your gut health, and a lot of the our feel-good chemicals. We think of certainly like serotonin and endorphins and so forth. that is a function in large part to our microbiome or our gut health. So it literally can change your biology in terms of how good you feel. And it's not, it's not a single element. It's not like you just do that and expect to feel different emotionally and mentally, but the combination of that and walking and others definitely can change your biology and literally how you feel. And so I just think that is an amazing thing that as little as a year ago, you were exploring antidepressants and ended up that had some side effects on you. And now here you are just a short year later, just feeling great. I love that. I absolutely love that. So thank you again, Bruce and Eileen. We're going to go, I think, to Larry. Larry, I think I saw your hand up. I hope you're ready and willing because we love hearing from you. Yes, there's Larry.
Oh,
Hey,
okay.
Larry.
How you doing, Eric? I just want to let everybody know that Eric does answer those signals that come up. But actually, I was trying to turn it off instead of on, and it kept coming on. But I'm glad you do acknowledge those, Eric. Hey, but I do want to talk a little bit about walking, just briefly. Like Kathy said, most people, ourselves as coaches, and most people have difficulty starting off at 10,000 steps, as you've said, Eric. And so many times we start off doing the steps that they can do. And then we try not to go back, but to at least maintain where we have gotten to, and then to move on and move forward towards the 10,000 steps. I'm happy to say that now I do 10,000 steps, and Kathy's probably put a little pressure on us because she's so good at doing it so consistently to improve that consistency. And, one other thing is that sometimes I even do 15,000 steps. And I think that was another thing that was mentioned. I think you mentioned that a while ago in one of the series here, that as you're able to do the 10,000 steps, then it would be helpful if you could work yourself past that as well and to continue on. So there's been times that I've done 15,000 steps. But you know what is one of the things that I do, when I was teaching, I just had to get up early in the morning to go to school. I'm not an early morning riser. And so my alarm clock for all those many years was the thing that kept me going. And so I say that to say, use your technical devices to help remind you when you should get up and move. When I'm active, I'm very active, but when I'm, as my granddaughter says, when I'm chilling, then I'm just chilling, and I find out that I'm not moving very much. And I would imagine that some people are also doing that too. You can be in your home and you can find out that you move very little. I could go out and get my walk in. I get 6,000, 7,000, 8,000 steps in. And then for the rest of the night, I would struggle to get to 10,000 and sometimes didn't quite get there before it was midnight. So anything that'll help you, remind you, and encourage you to get up and move. And then eventually it just becomes that habit. Now it's no longer, I still get that little jiggle that lets you know, okay, time to get up and move, but not as much because you become conscious of moving more and be more active. So I hope that helps. And thanks a lot, Eric.
Absolutely, Larry. It's definitely helps. And I love that we're kind of getting onto this walking theme here, instigated by Tomahawk, our new friend Tomahawk, doing his cameo appearance on here. But I'll make a comment on the walking as well, because Larry, you referenced that as someone is continuing to lose weight. What it says in the HealthPointe program in the daily messages specifically is that as you're losing weight, obviously that's becoming less arduous, less of a workout, which is great. It's less impact on your knees and your joints and so forth, and everything is getting healthier and healthier. But at the same time, 10,000 steps with carrying around 50 pounds is different than 10,000 steps with that 50 pounds gone. So what's the solution? And that is that they suggest to incrementally increase your steps. They also recommend you might want to integrate some other exercises. And of course, with your newfound health, a lot of people start getting into other things, maybe some HIIT exercises or some strength training, or just, all kinds of options start opening up because now you feel so much different. But if you're going to continue with the walking, I mean, you just do the math. If someone is, 200 pounds and they've dropped 40 pounds, well, that's about a 20% drop in the amount of weight that they're carrying around. So you may want to offset that with a 20% increase on your steps. If you were routinely clocking in at 10,000 steps, you would want to be increasing that maybe to 12,000 to offset that easier walk that you now have. And again, for most people, that's not a problem. They absolutely embrace that increase because, hey, they're feeling great. They can do more. You can also increase your pace. You can do more of a power walk. Certainly, Carol is such a great example of that. And then the other thing, I guess I'll plug in here on the walking topic, and then I'll go to kind of more of my other segment. And as we come in around the horn here on, we've got about 15 minutes left. So if anybody else wants to talk after me, they're certainly welcome. But that is to, look at how your day plays out and maybe increase your steps based on that activity. Now, what might that activity be? Well, for Emily and I, it's cottage season and we're up at the cottage. And last night we were tooling around in town and doing a few things. And we stopped back by one of our favorite places called Peccadillo's. And, Peccadillo's has got some, good food choices. We had some decent food, and then we split an ice cream. I mean, we just love their Michigan pothole ice cream. And so, not really because of that, but rather because of just, how we feel better. But when we came back to the cottage, we went out for a walk. I think we probably were walking, I think Emily said it was, maybe a mile and a half or something like that. But the point is that if you, now by the way, we wouldn't have done that Michigan pothole if we were in a 6-week cycle. Okay. So this isn't a segment that says, hey, go eat some ice cream and then just offset it with steps. No, when I can just speak for myself, when I was in the 6-week cycle, that didn't happen. Actually, I did 2 6-week cycles. It was easier for me to not negotiate the price, to rather just say, this is what the HealthPointe program says, and I can stand on my head for 6 weeks if that's what it takes. I don't want to wake up every morning and say, am I going to do this or am I going to not do this? Am I going to have ice cream and a donut or whatever it is? It was just easier just to say, this is a choice during this window of time. I'm heading towards the goal of the ultimate weight loss state and lifetime maintenance. And once I get there, then the aperture opens up and I can do other things. But during this time, it's no different than going through college. I just viewed it like that this is a time, it's a window of time, it's a chapter in life where you just kind of hunker down and stay focused. And then I'm not, switching back and forth in my brain trying to figure out, should I do this or should I do that? And I will, in all transparency, say that I had 2 times in our 6-week cycle where I ate anything other than, just strict right on the HealthPointe program. And it stands out in my mind because it was so unique. They were both when my dad was visiting us. Once we went for a very long bike ride, the 3 of us, Emily and I and my dad, and you on this bike path, you go right past a creamery, an ice cream place, an iconic place. But what did we have? My dad had a regular cone and Emily and I had a kiddie's cup, so this is like a small scoop of ice cream and we split it. And we just did that because we pay attention to the first tenet of HealthPointe, and that is don't be weird. It would have just been weird to go in there and say, well, Dad, you have your ice cream and Emily and I are going to sit over here in a corner and wait for you to be finished. That would just be weird. So we got a little scoop of ice cream and we split it, and that was fine. And then I had one beer with my dad, you know, sitting out on the deck in the evening. And again, it was just kind of, I suppose I could have had a excess energy drink or a water or whatever, but in that case, I decided to have a beer. But aside from those two situations in 2 6-week cycles, I didn't vary off of it at all. And as a result, you know, dropped the weight as planned, you know, basically 20 pounds down, 18, 20 pounds down, and got me back to my high school weight. And that was back in 2017. And we maintain that now in maintenance mode. But even in maintenance mode, hey, we go out, we have an evening in town, we split a Michigan pothole ice cream, we come back, we get some extra steps in, and it's just enjoyable. It's kind of like Kathy says, it's just who we are. You know, we enjoy it, but it also will have a good effect on that ice cream. Well, hey, I wanted to segue into what I queued up at the beginning. You know, it's really interesting. Some of you know that I'm in a program. Sorry, I had a little something on my phone go off there. But I'm in a program in integrative oncology. I've got about a year's worth of study left on it. And it's, you know, in this realm of cancer, it's really interesting as we were getting into more and more on epigenetics, which is kind of the outside influences on these genes that we're born with. And the area that I wanted to, you know, kind of touch on, not really unpack it, because candidly, I need to get into it more myself before I feel I can convey it very well. But I'm just going to cover a bit of a segment, and that is, you know, we talk in HealthPointe about mindset. This is getting more specific than that, because it's in a very specific region of cancer, and that is the power of our mindset, and specifically our beliefs on the effects that it may have on our genetic expressions. Okay, so again, epigenetics is you have a gene. Is that gene expressing? Is it turned on? Is it turned off? Is it, you know, dialed up strongly? Is it dialed down? And so this was not a new concept to me. I think most of us have heard something along this lines, but it's really interesting when it kind of gets reframed and clarified, you know, how it just kind of takes on a different interest level. So I am going to read a bit of a segment here. This is, there's a platform that we can help people with that want to go further down, and off of this platform, they have a lot of research papers, a lot of white papers, and I'm just going to read off of one of them, and it's the impact of perception on biology and health. Again, the impact of perception on biology and health. And it's about a paragraph and a half here. It says, Bruce Lipton, PhD, a renowned cell biologist and lecturer, has made significant contributions to bringing science, particularly through his pioneering research in epigenetics. Lipton's concept of the human as a superorganism emphasizes that our bodies are not merely composed of human cells, but also harbor trillions of microbial cells, our microbiome, we talked about that earlier, essential for survival. He likens our bodies to skin-covered petri dishes containing around 50 trillion cells within the original culture medium, which is your blood. This analogy underscores the importance of the environment in determining cell fate, with the brain acting as the chemist. That's interesting, isn't it? So picture a petri dish, picture the culture. Most of us have seen petri dishes, and there will be a culture that that specimen is in, and that culture is our blood. And then the chemist who is working on that petri dish is our mind. So 50 trillion cells within the original culture medium, your blood. This analogy underscores the importance of the environment in determining cell fate, with the brain acting as a chemist, dictating the chemical composition of blood based on our perceptions, thus directly influencing cellular function. Lipton explains that our perceptions shape our biology through the brain's translations of these perceptions into specific chemicals released into the blood. For instance, positive perceptions such as love lead to the release of dopamine, oxytocin, vasopressin, and growth hormone, fostering health and vitality. Conversely, negative perceptions such as fear result in the release of stress hormones and inflammatory agents, hindering growth and promoting a protection stance. This interplay between perception and biology is evident in phenomena like the placebo effect, where positive beliefs can lead to healing, and the nocebo effect, where negative beliefs can cause illness. All right, I'll stop there. So this isn't meant to be an exhaustive coverage of this topic. And certainly most of us, I would think most of us that are in a HealthPointe program or taking a stance in the direction of HealthPointe with our help are no strangers certainly to terminology like placebo or maybe even nocebo. But I thought it was interesting to, at least it was to me, to go beyond those throwaway comments of placebo and the context of that, and look at it more specifically, like Dr. Lipton helps us with, and that is that, you know, we are, as he says, walking around as skin-covered petri dishes, right? You know, you think of a petri dish, you picture this round little glass or plastic dish underneath a microscope, maybe. And in our case, he says he can liken us to skin-covered petri dishes, just with trillions of cells floating around inside of us. And then the chemist that might be looking through the microscope into that petri dish and affecting that, in this metaphor, the chemist is our thoughts, our brains, and literally how those thoughts can create different chemicals or hormones that get introduced into that culture, meaning that liquid, and in the case of our skin bags here, that is our blood. So what are the hormones? What are the chemicals that are being routinely released into this blood, this culture in this petri dish, and what effect does that have on our health, right? So just to punctuate this, I mean, we all know what it's like to have a bolt of fear, right? Maybe that turtle, maybe Tomahawk the turtle had a moment of that where he had a truck drive by him and he wasn't quite to the clear, you know? But if, as humans, if we are living in a chronic state of low-grade fear, and in turn, some of those hormones that would be released, maybe adrenaline, or these various, you know, stressor hormones that can do us a favor in short bursts. But if it's a chronic, just like that turtle, if it was, you know, if Bruce and Eileen hadn't come along and helped it along and then gotten a sign and helped it up off of there, he was in a chronic state of stress and fear. Is there any doubt that that would have had an effect on even a turtle? In fact, this keeps popping into my memory, so I'm going to say it. When I was a kid, my grandfather lived up in northern Michigan. He lived to be 102, by the way. And his sister, my Aunt Adele, lived across the road from him. And I can remember as kids, we were having some sort of event over at my Aunt Adele's, and us kids, I don't know how old I was, very, very young. A pack of us kids are running around playing as you do at an event like that over at Aunt Adele's, and we saw this mouse, okay, that was running around outside by the flower beds. And as kids, you know, we started chasing it around, okay? And then at some point, I can remember one of us getting a bucket or a pail, and we wanted to, catch this thing. It kept, skirting around. We're chasing it and chasing. Now you can imagine what the stress on that mouse was. And hate to be Debbie Downer on the story, but it's the truth. We finally were able to, get it kind of cornered and put that bucket, that pail over it. And when we peeked under it, we just wanted to catch it. It was dead. And I don't know. I mean, did it have a heart attack or what happened? But the point of that is, that illustrates, this stress and the hormones and the effects on our biology. And it's not just mice that could die from that. And so sorry for that mouse. We were just silly little kids. But the point of it is that, and what Dr. Lipton is pointing out here is that the more you can work on your beliefs, your perceptions, this is not woo-woo stuff. This is cellular biology. We have this petri dish. Our blood is the culture of trillions of cells. The effect on that culture, I mean, it would be no different than if you were looking at some organism under a microscope in the culture in a petri dish, and you took a syringe and you injected some sort of substance. You put gasoline, or you put any kind of, soapy soap in there. You put anything into that petri dish. Would there be any question in our mind that that would have an effect on the cells in that petri dish? No, it's simple chemistry, it's simple biology. And what he's just bringing to the forefront is that the more we can work on things that can improve our perceptions of the world around us, one person can have a fear event occur and they just kind of deal with it in the short term, and they kind of roll with it and they reframe things and they move on. They built that emotional strength. Other people have that same event and they go into trauma for days, weeks, maybe years. And some of these things are heavier. We're learning a lot about, different trauma life events that can have an effect on physical health, can have effect on cancer specifically, since this is an integrative oncology program. But for the point of this, as I read and learn more about this, and I, come to it from the context of the focus on HealthPointe. And we heard Eileen talk earlier about, looking into antidepressants and so forth. There is so much here, guys, that with the HealthPointe program, where we not only focus on good macronutrients, we focus on micronutrients, we focus on water and hydration and walking and mindset, which is the audios that if you're, I know we've got some new people in here, maybe you've been asked to listen to some audios and people think, good grief, don't I need to just pay attention to what I eat? Well, yeah, that's a big part of it. But also a really, really big part of it is that belief, this association that affects your emotions. Why is that important? Because that literally can affect, from an epigenetic standpoint, your cells. So I just wanted to tickle that subject a little bit. Not meaning to go into a deep dive on it here. This isn't the place for that, but just something to think about, to look into, and just make sure that you're working on the strength of your mind and your emotions, because it can literally affect your biology as well. So that's my segment on that. This has been so fun. Anybody else before we do a wrap here? Anything from Tomahawk there or anything?
This is Stephanie. I would just like to say one quick thing. I had my wellness checkup last week and got the blood work back. Cholesterol, blood pressure, sugar, everything is down and in normal levels now. So I thank HealthPointe for that.
Oh my gosh. And this is Stephanie. Tell us more about yourself. Who's your coach and what have been your specific numbers of weight loss and other factors, if you care to share that information, that is.
Sure. Erica is my coach. I'm here in Dearborn, Michigan, and I have lost 36 pounds. I have 4 more pounds to go before I hit my ultimate goal. Actually, my original goal was a higher weight because I never dreamed I could get down this far. So I'm very excited. You know, I was pre-diabetic and now my numbers are good. You know, I've had to take medication because of cholesterol and blood pressure. And while the doctor isn't convinced enough to take me completely off, he cut everything in half. And hopefully we're working towards getting off of everything. So I feel very happy, excited. And like today I have house guests. And so, you know, we have my sister, her family. And this morning I just got up and thought, I'm going to do the walk and talk. It's a funny thing because normally if I don't have guests, I don't walk, I just listen. today I'm walking and talking, so it's quite an event, but it's a way, you know, when you say don't make excuses. I just said to my sister this morning, this is something I do, you know, and so I'll be back in an hour, and so it's great. And I thank Erica and HealthPointe because it really works. It really does.
Oh my gosh.
Congratulations, Stephanie. Wow.
Thank you. Thank you.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm very happy. So thank you all. And I enjoy the walk and talks. I'm gonna put it, there I am, just so you see who I am.
Oh, hey, Stephanie.
Hey.
There I am.
Love seeing you.
We are so excited about your weight loss, and we're doubly excited about your numbers because that's where we talk about health. We're so proud of you, Stephanie, and Erica, and of course, Eric, who mentors Erica. You just got a great team there. So we're very proud of you. And this is what HealthPointe's all about, is people like you.
Well, and people ask me now because I look different, you know, and people ask me, I tell them about the program and I tell them how valuable the, you know, the kind of accountability, that is a huge thing for me. Like when I have to know that I'm going to weigh myself in the morning and have to tell Erica, it really changes whether I decide, oh, yeah, I could have a donut. Like, no, I don't think so. Anyway, I thank you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Stephanie. I mean, boy, oh boy, it couldn't have come under a better punctuation to this program. Stephanie, thank you so much. Congratulations on your 36 pounds. Congratulations on your change in your meds under the guidance of your primary care physician. I mean, this is, we should have just started the program, had the turtle, had Stephanie. That'd be it. That'd be enough.
That's right.
Thank
That's
you.
what folks need to hear. They need to hear Stephanie stories.
That's awesome. All right, guys. Well, looking forward. We do plan on having next week, next Saturday, same time, same place. And so until next time, we'll say bye-bye. Have a great Saturday, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody. Have a great weekend.
Bye-bye.
See you later.
Bye. Bye, everybody. Have a great weekend. It was great to be back. Love you all.
Great to have you, Kathy.
Good to see you, Kathy.